Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. I know that a lot of you have tried watching a movie in English without subtitles only to realize that everything sounds like complete gibberish. Like you know the words, you've been studying English for years, but for some reason when native speakers talk in movies, it feels impossible to keep up. So in this video we're going to figure out why this happens and how you can fix that. This video is brought to you by Squarespace, but more about them later. As always, I have prepared a free document for you guys for this video called the Movie Ear Training Guide. In this guide, you will learn why movie dialogue is so hard to understand, how to actually practice shadowing, and some common phrases and connected speech patterns. You will also get TV and movie recommendations by level and my favorite tools to understand slang and fast speech. The link to this guide is going to be in the description. It's completely free to download. All you have to do is share your email address with me and I will send you the guide straight to your inbox. Okay, so let's start and talk about the first reason why it might be hard for you to understand movies in English without any subtitles: the sound quality and speech clarity. I think when we talk about TV shows in English, movies in English, we really need to talk about the way movies are made. When you're learning English with a textbook, you're listening to some audio exercises, you're doing all of the grammar drills, the speech there is going to be clear and slow because this material was created for non-native speakers. But movies are designed for native speakers. And that means that actors don't always articulate very clearly. Sometimes they speak really well, like it's very easy for you to understand every single word, but sometimes they mumble, sometimes they whisper, or speak extremely quickly. And honestly guys, to make you feel better, even native speakers sometimes struggle to understand certain actors. And so for you as a non-native speaker, it is absolutely natural to feel like sometimes you cannot understand anything. Also, sound mixing plays such a huge role. You know, in movies there are sometimes background effects like boom, bah. They often drown out dialogue. And because of that, it becomes so hard to catch every single word. This is especially true for action films and for thrillers. And also, real-life speech isn't robotic. Like, yes, we're so used to AI right now, to ChatGPT, where if you ask AI to speak super slowly, it is going to pronounce every single word super well for you, separately, so that you can understand everything. But in real life, it doesn't really work like that all the time. Native speakers don't really speak like this. Hello, my name is Veronika. Their words tend to flow together. Hello, my name is Veronika. What you can do here is just be patient with yourself, like knowing all of this information, that movies are designed for native speakers, that sometimes even native speakers can't understand what certain actors are saying. That's why they need to turn on subtitles. It might be hard to understand movies, but it doesn't mean that your English is not improving. So let's move on to the second reason why it might be hard for you to understand movies without subtitles in English, and that is because how native speakers actually talk. Because yes, one of the biggest challenges for language learners is often connected speech. The way native speakers link words together and reduce sounds. There are honestly so many examples. Probably the most basic ones are, instead of saying, I am going to go, people say, I'm gonna go. Because it's going to take a while for me to pronounce this full phrase. Instead, I just say, I'm gonna go. It's so much faster. Instead of did you eat, you will often hear did you eat. Very, very fast, I know. Instead of what do you want, it sounds like, what do you want? And the problem that I often see here is textbooks don't really teach you that. But fortunately, right now, we are starting to get so many new resources like YouTube videos, new updated textbooks that do try to teach you connected speech, because more and more people are realizing the importance of that. And as a language learner, it honestly doesn't matter which language you're learning. For example, right now, I'm really actively learning Spanish, and a lot of people who are learning Spanish say the exact same thing. native speakers of Spanish speak extremely fast. It's really hard to understand them. But the reason why is because we're just not used to it, and that is absolutely okay. With enough exposure, with enough practice, you're gonna start getting more and more used to the way native speakers link words together, to the way they speak, their pace, their accent. And guys, if you're currently working on embracing your own unique voice, you have to know that having a strong online presence is just as important as having a strong real-life presence. And that is where today's sponsor, Squarespace, comes in. Squarespace is the all-in-one platform to build your online presence, whether you're starting a blog, showcasing your portfolio, or even selling products. One thing I love about Squarespace is how easy it is to use, even if you're not tech savvy. You don't need to be a coding expert to have your professional website up and running in no time. And now let me show you how I have been using Squarespace to build my own website. First of all, Squarespace's design intelligence feature takes their 2 decades of design expertise and integrates it with cutting-edge AI to help you create a unique, visually stunning website without the hassle. You can adapt it to your preferences and style, making sure that your website looks both personalized and professional. Second of all, I love their equity scheduling feature. If you're like me and offer consultations or services, this tool will make it super easy to manage appointments and accept payments, all from your website. And finally, their email campaigns. If you want to grow your audience, have your newsletter, and then run all of your email campaigns, you can do all of that on Squarespace. So if you want to create your own website, I highly recommend Squarespace. Head to squarespace.com/Veronika to start your free trial. And when you're ready to launch, you can use my code Veronika for 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Squarespace is one of the best investments you can make to showcase your skills and launch your dream project. Okay, now let's move on to reason number 3, why you can't understand movies in English without subtitles. And that is because of cultural references and humor. You already know a lot of the vocabulary, you know pretty much all the grammar. So now you start noticing different things, maybe different jokes or cultural references that you just don't understand. You will still feel lost in all of those cultural references just because you weren't born in that country. I still remember when I was like 19, 20, I was in college and I was watching Friends at that time. I was obsessed with Friends. And there was one episode where they were talking about the ball dropping. And when I first heard that expression, I was like, what do you guys mean? The ball dropping? Like, what ball is going to drop and why? Like, what is happening here? I was so confused, I'm telling you guys. And it was still at that time where there was no AI, so I couldn't just go to ChatGPT and copy the phrase, paste it to ChatGPT, ask all the different questions, and it will give me like a response in a second. So I found this forum where people were discussing different Friends episodes, and I found an explanation. It was connected to this New Year Eve celebration in New York City, and obviously I had no idea. I never had the cultural context of that place. So if you never grew up in an English-speaking country, you might not know all of the inside jokes and all of the traditions, and that's okay. Like, it's just something that you're going to learn eventually, step by step. Also, humor is often super hard to understand because it often relies on puns and slang that don't translate easily. And movies often reference some past events, celebrities, or trends that are just unfamiliar to non-native speakers. The solution I want to give you here is just use AI. If something in the movie doesn't make any sense to you, just copy this phrase and paste it into ChatGPT. I mean, right now you can even take a screenshot. Very easy, paste it to ChatGPT and ask it, what does it mean in this context? I have no idea. Is it a cultural reference? If it's a joke, why is it funny? Like, ChatGPT will explain everything to you. And honestly, this understanding is also something that will come over time. I know we all want to fix all of our language problems super quickly, but sometimes that is just not possible. Sometimes we need to trust the process and realize that over time, we will start to understand more and more cultural references. All right, moving on to reason number 4, why it might be hard for you to understand movies in English. And I think it's all because of accent. accents because people speak English in so many different countries in the world. Sometimes I struggle with understanding British English, depends on a show, a movie. Sometimes it's okay, I can understand pretty much everything, and sometimes I rely heavily on subtitles. It doesn't mean there's something wrong with me, it just means that this accent is a little bit hard for me to understand in this particular context. So when I personally realized that it was kind of hard for me to understand British English, what I did is I increased exposure. If it is important to you, you can do the same thing. You can start watching shows or videos on YouTube, shows from the UK, Australia, and Canada, and eventually you will start understanding all of these accents. Also, I personally always use subtitles. I don't think it's such a big problem. I know a lot of people really want to stop using subtitles when they're watching movies. I don't think it's a problem. Like, as long as you're using the subtitles in the same language, let's say you're watching a movie in English, so you're using subtitles in English. I see so many language learners use subtitles in their native language, and please don't do that, because in this case, what's going to be happening is you're gonna ignore English absolutely 100%, and you're just gonna be reading everything in your native language because our brains are lazy. They choose the path of least resistance, and in this case, it's going to be your native language. So instead of developing your listening skills, instead of learning some interesting phrases and words and improving your pronunciation, you're going to be reading text in your native language. Okay, so finally, after mentioning all of the reasons why it might be hard for you to understand movies in English without subtitles, I want to share some tips with you guys how you can actually train your ears, what you can do to improve your listening skills, to improve comprehension, and actually start enjoying all of your movie watching experiences. One technique that a lot of polyglots and language learners often talk about is shadowing, and I am that person who practices shadowing super regularly. Something that I hope is going to help me improve my accent in Spanish and just my listening comprehension, the way I understand and memorize information. I'm gonna explain super quickly for those of you guys who might not be familiar with this technique. The way it works is you choose a movie or maybe a video or maybe a vlog on YouTube where you know you can understand most of the information. That is extremely important. Like, don't try to choose something super complicated, something where you don't even like the accent and try to practice shadowing while watching this boring movie. Pick something fun, something you like, where people speak naturally, where they're having natural conversations, and play the video sentence by sentence, pausing after each phrase or maybe after each sentence, depending on how much you can remember. And then you're going to repeat after them. You're going to copy their intonation, their pronunciation, their accent, and the idea behind shadowing is not to sound 100% like that person, because we all want to stay authentic. We're not trying to copy someone so that we become like them. No, we're trying to practice shadowing so that we can notice more of the language, notice some interesting expressions, connected speech, practice all of this so that later all of this information, all of this knowledge helps you when you start speaking the language and talking to people. Second, try to watch content that you actually enjoy. This is something that is super important to me. If I'm watching a movie, a video, anything that I don't like, I'm not gonna pay attention to it. I will never forget how I learned the word loofah in English. I only heard this word once in a video, a vlog by some American YouTuber, and I remembered this word, I think, forever. It just happened naturally because I was watching a video I really liked by a creator I really liked. Because when you're enjoying what you're doing in language learning, the actual learning will happen effortlessly. And finally, use subtitles wisely. Again, I really want to repeat it in this video because so many people think that using subtitles is somehow cheating. It somehow means that your English skills are not good enough. Guys, absolutely not. If you want to use subtitles when you're watching something in English, please use them. Just make sure that those subtitles are in English as well. The simple rule is the language of the content should be the same as the language of your subtitles. That's it. So guys, I think it's going to be it for today's video. If you liked it, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Make sure to get your free movie ear training guide. All you need to do is click the link in the description and I will send it straight to your inbox. If you guys are looking into creating your own website, I highly recommend Squarespace. I have been working with them for so long already because the first few versions of my own website was built on Squarespace, so I'm super familiar with this platform. My link will help you get a free trial and my code Veronika will give you 10% off. On my channel, I have a lot of videos where I talk about improving your listening skills and your speaking skills, but if you want some actionable tips, 5 things you can do to speak better in any language, I highly recommend this video right here. Just click right here and keep on watching.